The governor issued the directive and an interactive meeting with the leadership of the Hausa, Fulani and Ibira communities in the state following the increasing cases of kidnapping in the state. In its reaction, the federal government said the constitution does not allow any state to expel any citizen from any part of the country. In a counter-reaction, the Ondo state governor described the reaction of the federal government as a brazen display of emotional attachment, which it says is very inimical to the corporate existence of Nigeria. Now, the back and forth has generated a lot of comments, and some lawyers have also weighed in on the legality of the position taken by the governor. This is the starting point of this conversation with the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Joseph Daudu.
I'll just say straight away that he should not have or should not generate any controversy. The governor of each of the 36 states is the chief security officer of his state. He also answers to his people as to issues of security. What he has said is to tackle the increasing menace of internal insecurity in Ondo State. And if his findings is such that it will require the monitoring of forest reserves and those who go into such places, apparently maybe to foment criminal activities, then he cannot be faulted. You see, every state, each of the 36 states is a mini country to itself. We are all federating units, and therefore, as it relates to the security of Ondo State, it is the governor's responsibility. And it is mischievous for anyone to say that the governor has asked herdsmen or Fulani men and those who engage in such lawful business to vacate Ondo State. I think that is overreaching. He has only said, don't go into forest reserves. And forest reserves are designated areas which is for the government to plan as it desires. It is not a place that anybody can just walk into and occupy. And so I think there's nothing wrong in anything that the governor has said.
One argument against the traditional mode of cattle herding is that it has refused to adapt itself to modern trends and subject itself to rules and regulations. Do you agree?
I do, because I think there is more than meets the eye. The herdsmen palaver under the guise of cattle droving is being used to amplify the ambitions of a few people in Nigeria. I do not think that that is right. I think that it is only fair that if you want to engage in a business, you engage in it just like everybody engages in that business. Cattle business is a profitable business. Next to oil, there is no business as lucrative as the business of engaging in beef and dairy products. Now, since it is a business, the factors of production come in. Elementary economics. Land is one of the vital factors of production. Now, this is what federal government is saying. Oh, because these people are our kinsmen, they can walk into any land in this country, and because everybody likes to eat meat, and stay on your land free. No. Go and lease the land, pay for it, or buy it, or do anything you want to do. Pay the local communities. Everybody is looking for money. Then ranch your cattle in there. Then buy another piece of land and plant food for the cows, so that you bring it to your ranch and feed them. The day you want to go and sell it in Lagos or anywhere, you bring a trailer, they will pack it inside and then take it to Lagos. This is a business. Doesn't concern federal government as to how the Fulani man does his business. I'm even surprised that other people have not gone into the cattle business, set up their ranches, and then make this troublesome type of doing business irrelevant. But it's simple business. Lease land, buy land, Nobody will come and tell you that you are disturbing them. But you want to take somebody's land free? It's not done like that. Starting from the uppermost tip of the northwest to the southernmost tip of the south-south, you hear reports of at least 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people needlessly massacred and murdered by one armed gang or the other. Why do we have the questions we should be interrogating? Is that why is there such little regard to human lives in Nigeria? What is propelling this? The security architecture know what to do. As for kidnapping, it's also a business for some people. And you know the common denominator in Nigeria to bring strange fellows, bedfellows together is money. So you can't tell me that security agencies cannot track down kidnappers, cannot oust them. We have always been brought up to believe that nobody can fight government. And so it's not for me or any of us now to advise experts in security matters on how to get about it. There is something wrong in the house. They should sit down and advise themselves.
Flowing from what you've said, there's been continuous call in some quarters for the sack of the service chiefs, and the president has continued to keep them even beyond their constitutional term limits. Do you think that he's violated any laws there?
Now, the president can hire and fire. He can hire and fire. He has not broken any law because they are his appointees. If he wants to extend the appointment, he can extend the appointment. But what we are saying is that in the face of these recurrent failures, and if it is true that there is no agenda, a man of certain group of service chiefs are unable to deliver what Nigerians want, not what the president wants, because we don't know what he wants. If he wants a peaceful, a secure, and a vibrant security architecture, these gentlemen are not providing that. We've gone through, we're not little children again. We've seen so many service chiefs operate and tie down the security architecture. So the president is within his right to keep them, and we are within our right to say you should change them. Because that will then lead us to our conclusion that the president has his reason for not wanting to remove them.
Away from issues of insecurity, the process of transition just got concluded from one administration to another in the United States. What lessons do you think that Nigeria, its leaders, followers, and even the institutions can learn from what happened there?
2 points. Our attitude to power in Nigeria is propelled by what we gain as self-profit. In the US, it's different. You can see that the new President Biden, as vice president, could not afford to pay for his son's cancer treatment. He wanted to sell his house. It was only his boss, the president, that offered to give him the money. Now, this is a man who has been in Senate for over 30-something years, from the age of 29. He entered the train from Delaware to Washington every day and back to home, a distance of about 136 miles. So our attitude to work, to politics, to service must be different. Secondly, too, are the institutions. They had a strange enigma called Trump, who came into the scene and didn't want to leave, even though he lost. And Nigerians were supporting him. I'm not one of those who will support. That is why in Nigeria it is easy for people to come, because they were looking at the whole US scenario with the Nigerian approach. That if you have a strong man, he can do and undo. He hoodwinked all of them. So they had strong institutions and they had people with the right attitude. We don't have both. We have no business practicing democracy because it requires a strong attitudinal approach to the issues of rule of law, due process, and all the ingredients of democracy. It also has a need for existing institutions to be strengthened. So we don't have any of those. So it's like comparing apples and oranges.
Any lessons for our courts and judicial reforms?
The lesson the courts can learn is that justice is transparent. It was clear to everybody that Biden won fair and square, and that Trump was trying to cherry pick, choose which elections to denounce where it favored him. He didn't allege rigging. Where it didn't favor him, he alleged that it was rigged. Within the same election parameter. So they told him, oh boy, this thing is not done like that. And those people said, look, we have to place our nation ahead of petty political considerations. And they gave their judgments. The question me and you will have to consider is whether if it happens in Nigeria, our courts will have the backbone or the spine to stand in favor of what is just and what is right. Honestly, I cannot beat my chest today and say that we will have the same result. Because in this country, they may be motivated or swayed to do the wrong thing by two factors: ethnicity and financial.
Speaking about judicial reforms, the call for reforms continues to get louder and louder. Why do you think that stakeholders in the justice sector have refused to come together to agree on the needed reforms and implement them?
Yes, for the same reason of our approach to truth, justice, and what is fair and equitable. In this country, people tend to speak when they want to please X, Y, or Z. There is no conscience, in these matters. So there is a lack of consensus because people are thinking, I'm from the South-South, I'm from the Southwest, I'm from the Northeast, I'm from North Central, I'm from Northwest, I'm from East. Now, what we should be thinking is, what is in the overall interest of Nigeria? And how can we define and determine who or what is a Nigerian? I think that unless we get that right, we can never agree on anything. I listened to the arguments on this Akeredolu issue on most of the channels today. And unfortunately, people took position as it relates to the ethnic groups. People who know the truth. Out of the 5 steps taken by the governor of Ondo State, nobody found anything wrong in the 4. That is, no night grazing, no underage grazing, no grazing on the highways and in street capitals. Nobody found anything wrong. And in any case, you can't find anything wrong in those ones. Because there is a saying in Hausa, Labi, Baya Bingari. Labi is a cattle path. That means it does not pass in between the town from colonial times. The president knows it. Garba Shehu knows that. Everybody knows that you can't take your cows and pass through Maitama, Sokoro, Apo. Where are you going to? Because Labi via Bingadi. It goes round the cattle path so that it doesn't disturb people. And people don't disturb it. It avoids farms and everything. So people don't give answers to these issues on the basis of their conscience, but on the basis of what they're interested Until we stop there, my brother, we're not going anywhere.